What's up, everyone? It's Matt Price. Gonna do another woods rant here, but I'm gonna walk and film this one in different segments. Anyway, this video is for men specifically, but I think women will get a lot out of it as well. Recently, I was hanging out with a female friend of mine who I've known for about 5 or 6 years, and we were talking about among other things, we got on the topic of sexuality, male versus female sexuality, and the differences and similarities. But she revealed something to me that I think I already knew, but it was just intense and powerful to hear it coming from a woman's mouth. And what she told me was that every single woman that she knew had some form of sexual trauma, sexual abuse, rape, violence, molestation done to them. Every single one. 100% of her friends, women that she's gotten close to, have experienced some type of sexual trauma. And some of the women that I've gotten close to in my life over the years have revealed that to me as well about themselves. And what that leads me to believe, based on that data amount, is that every woman you know probably has also experienced some form of sexual trauma. And most likely it came from a man, and probably most likely it also came from a man that she knew. What this is telling me is that men are fucking up real bad in their communication with women in regards to consent and also female desire. Because based on my research, I'll say, some books I've read, some things I've watched. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm none of those things. I'm just a guy who's trying to do my best to figure this stuff out. But books like My Secret Garden and The Ethical Slut, Sex at Dawn, and some podcasts and things, is that the female sexual drive is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than a man's. Yet men have oppressed it throughout the years, and I think it's mostly because they're afraid. They're afraid, men, us dudes, are afraid that we are not good enough to actually handle a woman in her fullness, her full expression of her human animal desires. Most men, I would say, are pussies. We can't handle it, so we repress it. We oppress. Not repress, oppress women. Now, aside from the long-standing ancestral, I guess, kind of heritage of some of these beliefs that have been passed down from the patriarchy, so to speak, I think there are some things, too, in our modern world that are causing men to have really distorted views about sex, one of which is pornography, which, if you're a dude watching this, I highly suggest that you cut out all porn, at least for a period of time, because if you're watching porn regularly, you are probably addicted, and you are so desensitized that you don't even know what's going on. And the reason I say that is because I know, because I've been there, and it's fucked. It's really bad. That's a problem. Internet porn especially super intense, super graphic, super not realistic, creates false expectations for how we're supposed to perform as men, how we're supposed to look, how our women are supposed to look, how they're supposed to act, all these things. And it's just so accessible. You can get it on your phone anytime, anywhere. That's an issue. I think another big issue is the use of alcohol, particularly at like a younger age, using alcohol as a lubricant or something to squash anxiety and squash true emotions. I know this is something I'm also guilty of in my earlier years of, going on like dates or whatever and having some drinks, using alcohol as a it's like so acceptable. And my invitation would be to, the next time you meet a new woman and go on a date or like in a romantic situation, to try and not have any alcohol involved at all. See how that goes for you. And lastly, it's like, I guess I kind of said this before, the ancestral, the passing down of these beliefs and thoughts, and learning bad beliefs from our peers and like older, when you're a young guy, basically a kid these days coming up and you start to learn about sex, mostly I think men learn it from like their older cousins or brothers or somebody like that, and you're learning really like fucked up ways of viewing sexuality. I think it's all about getting laid and smashing pussy and all this stuff, and then it becomes kind of like there's a competitive angle to it that a lot of like high school kids I think get caught up in, and it's like it's totally distorted view of what it's supposed to be. A lot of times men have their own sexual traumas that may have occurred when they were young that they haven't fully accepted and worked through. And I believe that a lot of times this can cause a disconnect or a separation between their sexual energy and their partners. And, men, if you're watching this, if anybody watches this, my suggestion is to become very honest with yourself about any and all sexual experiences that you've had in your life from the time you were born up until right now. Even if there was some shit that happened when you were a kid that was out of your control and not your fault. Maybe there was some experimentation that occurred in high school or college. It's all fine. Like, none of it makes you bad or weird. It's actually probably all a lot more common than you realize. It's just that most men are afraid to talk about that shit because they think it's gonna make them seem weak. One practical tip that I've found really helpful is, if you're not ready to talk about it or say it out loud, then just write it in a journal first. And you can write it over and over. And then speak it into existence in private or out here in the forest where the trees can collect it. But I suggest eventually working your way up to the point where you're ready to say it out loud to another human being. That's when the real healing begins. So guys, it's time. We gotta talk about it. We gotta rise up and meet these women where they're at, because there's so much wisdom and power in the feminine spirit and the female human, not just the soul, but also the embodiment. And we are not correctly reciprocating the energy. We're fucking it up, dudes. I think that's all I'm gonna say for this video. This is probably the longest video I've done so far. Again, I'm not an expert. I am a student. I am a learner, a lifelong learner of this type of stuff. And it's really only the last couple years of my life that I've really started to come to terms with it all and working through it on my own. So hopefully maybe you got something out of this video. I don't know, maybe it's triggering, maybe it stirs up something in you. This is just, I'm ranting, you know, this is stream of consciousness. I'm not 100% sure what I'm saying, but this is on my mind, so I wanted to put this video out. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Matt Price. You can follow me over on Instagram at AuthenticMatt. And yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, love yourself, love everyone, be the change. See ya.